Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to week number 2 in our leadership class. Here we are, guys. This is what the weekly video looks like. It's me, little, I guess, bobblehead. Um, Ultimately, I want to just keep connected with you guys through these videos. I want to be able to make sure you understand what my expectations are, talk about what last week looked like, talk about this week and what the expectation is for our discussion and what we're talking about in our chapters, and then of course get a preview of next week, sort of anything that's anticipating that I think might bring a challenge to you. I want to start by saying that yesterday we started our spring 24 registration. I sent out an email to all business students reminding them of signing up. Right now, we're in the middle of a couple of our advisors. There's a lot of shifting going around, but basically, Miss Grace Beam, which was a lot of people's advisors, has moved on to better and bigger things within the organization. She is now working in a different department, so no longer teaching full time for us. She's doing some other stuff for us. So if you had her as an advisor, you're probably going to get an email saying she's no longer your advisor, or if you try to email her, she'll forward it to me. But ultimately, two of our other full-time instructors are not available currently. So yours truly will be the only business advisor for over 400 students in the next few weeks. So, not to include my full-time position here as an instructor and addressing concerns within my classes, but also I do a lot of economic and corporate training for the school. And then, of course, I got other responsibilities within our community and school-wide. And of course, now registration has kicked in, and I'm the only one registering. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is be patient with me. It's going to be a crazy few weeks. I have a lot on my plate. I'm not ignoring you. I will not ignore you. You are my priority, and I want to make sure that I take care of you. That's why I'm getting this video out as soon as I can. So, that being said, last week went well. I'm reading through the discussions. I did grade your quiz 1. Some of you guys, I'd rather forego speaking about some answers I saw. But I would say most of you all understood the assignment. You got it. Compared and contrast, leadership and followers, the relationship between the both. A lot of what life has to do, especially in business, there's no black or white. It's so gray. So you have to understand that going into this. Leadership is very similar. There is not just bad leaders and good leaders. There's a whole bunch of types. And chapter 3, really, I like the way it starts because it talks about you, how to develop your skill as a leader. So at some level, you lead. You lead somewhere. You lead either your family, you lead at church, you lead in your social groups and networks, you lead in a team, you lead at work. There's just 100 different ways, right? And what we're trying to do in this class is to kind of identify, name some of these styles, some of this development, and understand how leadership should be addressed, how you and I should view leadership. So we will see this at some point, but there was this concept called the great man theory, where people thought this is what a leader should look like, should be, this is the characters they should have. And although they were in the realm of correct, they were wrong because they were picking some characteristics that doesn't necessarily identify as great leaders, great man leaders, or great women leaders. I shouldn't just say men, great leaders, period. So this first part, chapter 3, is talking about some simple tasks that you take to become a better leader. Chapter 4, though, is really interesting because in chapter 4, we talk about power and influence. We talk about the difference between the two. And there is a difference between the two. Someone can have a lot of power. That doesn't mean they have a lot of influence. Like I known many leaders who have had power over their constituents or the people that report to them, but they're not influential amongst them. And I know some people that don't have what we consider legitimate power, a title, a position like a manager, supervisor, director, but they have a lot of influence because the people respect them. There's a high level of respect for them. So I want you to study that pretty closely, because you're going to understand that in many situations, one could be used more effectively than the other. And I'm not saying that one is bad and one is good. That's not, like I said, there's no black and white here. It's just very circumstantial. It depends on where you're at. And there's some times where, yes, power is necessary. You need to take certain appropriate actions, right? But there's other times where people mix those two together and they try to use power when they should be using their influence on someone. All right, so the discussion this week really leans towards that, because we all watch commercials. We're all influenced at some level. As a matter of fact, there's a whole category called influencers, right? And it's a very interesting concept, because these are people that are watched on some social media platform, and they're not experts, subject matter experts. They're not famous. They're famous in their sphere, in their world, but they're not famous, but they're influencing individuals. So in this discussion, we look at commercials, and what I hope to happen is, and I want to call someone out in a positive way. Nelly is the ideal situation that I would like to see. So if you have an opportunity, Nelly was one of the first posts. She put up the commercial she analyzed, and it was T-Mobile, and she talked about the tactic of influence, the categories in which they use to influence you. She mentioned this inspirational. She talked about the personnel appeal. So she did what I was looking for. This is the way a discussion should look at this level. Okay. I want to bring to your attention that I am a very strict grader when it comes to discussion, because that's where I see what you know. Okay. If you're talking nonsense, I can see it immediately. Right? You have to know what you're saying to put it down on paper. Now, guys, I understand that some of this stuff is more difficult than even my own principles of management class, right? But that's how this progresses. It should become more challenging, because it should get you to a point where you're prepared to understand these concepts on a real world scenario. If you graduate and you become a social media manager for a company, right? You're running their Facebook and Twitter. This stuff should come to mind right away. Hey, how do I influence people? So I really feel as if, I'm trying to develop a system where you understand that this somehow is going to come back and play a role in your life. Even if you're not a social media manager, if you're just a manager and your employees morale is down, like, how you adapt this knowledge and you transfer this information into your environment, that's the key to success. So analyzing a commercial, you select the commercial, you watch the commercial, and then you identify the influence tactics that they're using. Don't tell me necessarily about the commercial. I could see it. You're going to link the YouTube link to me. I can watch it. I don't want you to say this commercial is good. Tell me what influential tactic they're using, right? In another world, you'll probably have studied things like the ethos, like the different types of, things that they're using, the concept. Are they addressing your emotion? Are they addressing your logic, right? Logos. Are they trying to make it logical for you? Are they tapping into your fear? Right? Are they saying, like, someone's going to break into your house right now if you don't call ADT? Like, you got 30 seconds to call. And are they trying to trigger an emotion out of you? Are they trying to logically say, hey, this makes sense, right? This makes sense because we are the best, we're the lowest, we're the cheapest. Like, what are they using to influence your decision? So this is an important part to this. I hope that you take some time to really analyze this chapter and really use it to your advantage. I think it would help you as well as a manager, as an influencer, as a leader to understand what you possess. Is it just power? Or have you reached a level with the people that surround you where you're influential amongst them? Where if you say, guys, we should do this, they're not just doing it because you're their boss. They're doing it because they respect you. They have a certain level of respect for you. And then you can start using these sort of mindsets to understand how people interpret that information. Um, as I mentioned, guys, yeah, this might be a little tougher than previously expected from my other class, but I do it on purpose, and I do it because I want to challenge you a little. I want you to step outside of your comfort zone in business and sort of become professional business people. I don't want you to get a piece of paper. Uh, 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 you know, an associate's degree is awesome, and you deserve it. And when you earn it, it's such a great feeling. When you earn that degree, it's such a wonderful feeling. And believe me, I will be at the front row at your graduation, applauding your name and proud of you because I know you earned it. If you've gone through my class, you've earned it. And I know you have. And I don't want to give something to you. I want you to earn it, right? Because there's no better feeling than that. So, yes, this is tough. I get it. I hear you. But it's worth it. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your hard work. Thank you. It is cold outside, guys. It's getting colder and colder. As you can tell, I'm wearing my thicker sweater. I sent you a message telling you that this video is coming up. And as I said, I am tired. It is only 2 o'clock and I'm exhausted. It's been a busy morning. I have so many students signing up for registration, phone calls, emails. I'm trying to get your videos out and just getting going crazy. I showed this to my class earlier. It was closed at the time, but I finished their video and got it up and going. And this is my lunch today. I opened it, of course, because I'm eating now. But I couldn't even step out, take a breather. But I'm about to brew some coffee. I'm about to do some more work, get some things going. It's going to be a crazy, crazy couple weeks. So, guys, bear with me. Stay with me. Stay focused. You got this. And I hope you're having a wonderful week. If you haven't been out there on some of these wonderful fests, I went to Oktoberfest in Chattanooga this weekend. It's wonderful. It's like a German-inspired fest. They had schnitzel and they had a Chicago truck, which was not really Chicago, but whatever. They had bratwursts and all this great German flair stuff. I had some like fried dough donuts. They were great, delicious. Heard some polka music and all that great German influence type of stuff, and but it was fun. It's a lot of fun. Plus, they had a farmers market, so went in there, got some honey, all that great stuff. But yesterday, I'll share this with you. I know a lot of you said you're foodies. Yesterday, I went to a restaurant in Chattanooga, which I frequent once in a while. It's called Mayan Kitchen. It's in downtown Chattanooga next to Rodizio Grill, across the street from the Rodizio Grill. And it's like a Central American inspired cuisine with like a nice little, bar. But anyhow, I went there and I ordered what they called pork in green salsa. So it's like ribs. It's ribs in a green salsa. They were delicious. I mean, they were delicious. They had a little bit of an acidity to it, like a little acidy flavor to it, maybe like a lime or something. I think it comes from the green little tomato. They call it a tomatillo, a mini tomato. It has sort of a little bit of an acidity to it, and it was wonderful. Tender. The ribs are really tender and soft with some rice. And I had leftovers because for some reason, I can't eat as much as I used to, but I had some leftovers. My intention was to bring them today, and when I got here, I remembered I left my leftovers. So you bet I shed a little bit of a tear this morning. But nevertheless, the vending machine and Cheez-Its has to do. So anyhow, I hope you're having a great weekend, guys. I think it was this class where someone said, "Are you a Cubs fan?" Let me see if I see it real quick. I only have less than a minute to go, so I might have to cut it short. But in this class, someone asked me, "Am I a Cubs fan?" And I just want to make sure you clearly understand there is only one team in Chicago, and it's the Chicago Cubs. The other team that they call themselves a Chicago team truly is not a Chicago team. It's part of the south side of Chicago. They're like, I don't know what to say. But yes, I'm a Bears fan. I'm a Cubs fan. Deep dish pizza is for tourists. We don't eat that as a Chicagoan. So anyhow, I gotta go. Take care. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.